Peace and blessings, and welcome to Vital River Center for Humanity. Tonight, our special guests are Betty Tucker and Selma's very own BJ Smothers. Betty Tucker is the author of Don't Worry About the Mule Going Blind, and Miss Smothers will interview her on her personal journey from Troy, Alabama to New York to California and back to Troy, Alabama. Enjoy.
BJ Smothers, and I'm thrilled to be here with Betty Tucker, interviewing her this evening. In the interest of full disclosure, I want to let you know this is not a first encounter with Betty. She and I were both privileged to be extras on the set of the movie Selma, some of you in the audience as well, and I chanced upon her during a lunchtime one day, and Betty told me her story. And I have to tell you, I was absolutely mesmerized by her story. And who would think that sometime not too long after I'd be here talking to you about your book? This is wonderful. I finished reading your book a couple of days ago, and I have to tell you that I was absolutely mesmerized by your story. I want to ask you first, I'm sure the question everybody has on their mind right now is, where did the title come from? Don't worry about the mule going blind. What does that mean?
Sure. First of all, I would like to extend a warm welcome and appreciation for all the guests we have here this evening. I really appreciate you guys coming out. And also, the title of this book came from Miss Warren. Miss Warren is a lady that I knew when I was growing up in Troy, Alabama, who used to bring all the leftover food home from the cafeteria that she worked in to help share, to serve food for mom, to share the food with mom and dad and we kids. So I reconnected with her in 2001 and again in 2004. And during that time, I really wasn't doing too well. And when I would be around her, she would see me sad and she would say, "Don't worry about the mule going blind. Just get on him, straddle him, and hold the line. It's going to be all right. Just load the wagon. It's going to be all right." And every time she saw me looking sad, she would say that. And all of a sudden, those words became the foundation for where I am right now.
It's about, actually, this is your memoir, your life story.
Yes.
And it is actually a series of life stories, because your story actually began and ended many times. You had many new beginnings. Can you just give us a synopsis, I guess, what the book is about for those who haven't read it yet?
The book is about becoming a migrant worker. My family became a migrant worker when I was 9 years old. My dad had lost his job, and he was a breadwinner in our family of a family of 8, 9 including my dad and mom. And I remember this transfer truck basically backing up on our back porch, our front porch. And we were the last families to get on this big old truck. And traveling from Troy, Alabama to Utica, New York, where everybody on the, basically it was a plantation, went to work who was over 6 years old. And I was about the only person so the story is about being a migrant worker. And when we left New York, we went to Belgrade, Florida. And that's where most of my life growing up took place. And while living in Belgrade, my mom left my dad, and due to an incident, I was kicked out of the house when I was 12 years old, and I started living with my dad. During that time, like when I was 12 to 16, I experienced being sexually assaulted, raped several times. I was a teen pregnant mother when I was 18, my last year in high school. 9 months later, I was pregnant with twins. I didn't know they were twins, but because I had no prenatal care, I knew my life was over. I knew all my dreams and hopes was over. I was basically homeless, no skills, no place to live, barely 19 with 3 kids to take care of.
Well, let me ask you about that. As you said, before age 19, how many places had you lived before you were 19 years old?
I had lived in Belgrade, Florida. I had lived in Troy, Alabama, Belgrade, Florida, and Utica, New York.
And you'd had 3 children by this point.
3 kids by this time.
Okay. And at 19, you were in New York State?
Yeah, I was in New York City. I was in New York. And that's when it's amazing how True Story magazines, I don't talk about it that much in the book, has been an intricate part of my life. When I was like 12, I looked in the back of True Story magazine, and in there it was saying, if you can write, sing your lyrics, and I wrote, that's the sound of the man working on the chain gang. Although Sam Cooke sung it, and everybody, several people took credit for writing it, but I wrote that song. When I was 19, 18, I looked in the back of a True Story magazine. When I realized I was pregnant, I decided then that I was not going to keep, I wasn't going to keep the kid. So I looked in the back of a True Story magazine, and it said, if you are pregnant with a child and you want to place him up for adoption or whatever, we can assist you. And it's amazing. 2 weeks later, my girlfriend said, I'm moving to New York with my sister, and I asked her if I can go with you, and I connected with the social worker when I got there.
So you ended up going to New York, and you gave your children up for adoption?
I gave my kids up for adoption.
Just the twins? You still
Just
had
the twins.
Where was your other daughter?
The other daughter was living with her dad and her grandmother in Belgrade, Florida.
Okay.
I felt like they would have a better life, and I would be able to have a better life myself. I would be able to acquire the skills that I need to not only take care of myself, but to be able to get my youngest daughter and take care of her. I got another opportunity to go to California. And this was another dream of mine, to be able to live in California. So I went to California. I enrolled in college. I got a degree. I married. I worked some years, 21, 22 years. And during the same time, I was working at the U.S. Postal Service. So I worked 2 jobs simultaneously together.
So while you were in Florida, you eventually met someone and got married.
Yes. When I was in California, I met my husband painting a house next to my sister, and I got married in 1976.
And you had a very unusual relationship.
Yes, I did. Always did the working. I worked 2 jobs, and my husband was like the house husband when house husband wasn't as popular as it is now.
Right,
so this was in 76. My husband was the house husband. I always kind of look at my husband's like, he was the overseer and we were his slaves,
And what do you mean by that?
Well, it means that he decided on everything, he decided, like the boys was like his kids. Actually, my son, my baby boy, even said that, I guess when he was 5 or 6, when he didn't know where babies came from, he was so close to his dad, he thought his dad had him. That is kind of funny, huh? He thought his dad had him. And he shared with me, he said, Ma, I don't remember you when I was little.
Tell me about it. I remember one of your sons was at school and they asked him what he wanted to be when he grew up. Tell everybody what he told the teachers.
Yeah, he said, well, you know what? I'm not sure. He said, I may be a truck driver, but I may just be stay at home and take care of the kids. So he was thinking so his teacher told me that. And she looked at me like, where did he get that from? When somebody asks a young man, like a 12 or 11-year-old, what do you want to do when you grow up? He said, I'm not sure. I may just stay home and take care of the kids. I may go out and work. I'm not sure. When I had the parent conference, she said, George said he was going to just maybe stay home to take care of the kids. And I didn't come, and I just looked at her. Yeah.
A little bit. What is it that you want, the reason you wrote this book, what do you want people to take away from this book? I mean, why did you write it, and what do you hope that other people get from it?
I want people to walk away from this book and think don't ever always believe in yourself and believe in God. If you can dream it, it can become a reality. That your life is about choices. However, no one is born with a GPS. No one is born with MapQuest. You have no direction your life is going, but you always believe in the journey. And I feel like I want people to know that they are created for greatness. They are engineered for success. And if they can just believe something positive, that it will make this life journey so much easier. You know, like life is full of challenges. It's a known fact, but you just work your way through it and it get better and better and better. And I just feel like now at 66, I'm living my best life. You know, I am living my best life. It couldn't get any better.
There's a passage on page 131 that we were looking at earlier. You want to read that for everybody? I kind of think it sums up
Sure.
what you've been saying.
I realize how blessed I am. I'm responsible only for myself. The few people I know who are in their 50s or 60s are already prepared or preparing themselves to take care of their parents or their grandchildren. But me, I'm 65 a year ago, and I'm ready to live my best life. I decided that I'm going to be happy with Eddie B or without him. I'm happy with who I've become. Life is a challenge. It's just a matter of just, not letting it get you down. When you get knocked down, just get up and just dust yourself off and just keep going. Just keep going because it gets better. Just keep going. Just keep going. You don't worry about the mule going blind. You don't worry about that.
Thank you very much, Betty.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.